This is the TJ Hoisington Podcast. Unleash your greatness within.
Think about this. Just be a critical thinker for a second. Self-improvement, when someone's self-improvement to always grow, to learn, to get on the cutting edge, to be the best at your job is really strong, without sufficient self-acceptance, you end up living in this box called self-critical. And there were several of you, you don't have, no names or anything, but several, I would ask the question on the phone call, are you typically kind of hard on yourself? And the answer was, every time, yes. Some of you use this drive to improve to justify your worth and potential. So I brought this book with me, written many years ago by Maxwell Maltz. I read this book, and one little statement stood out to me that I've never forgotten. Maxwell Maltz, psycho-cybernetics. Well, guess who Maxwell Maltz was? He was a plastic surgeon. And what he would do is these people would come in to have their faces or whatever, bodies adjusted. And that would be the answer to their happiness. And what he realized through years of doing this plastic surgery is that actually people didn't feel happier having all that work done. And he wrote a whole book on it. It's all in here. And what he says is, he says, when you fail at something, that does not mean you are a failure. When you make a mistake, that doesn't mean you are a mistake. So one of my goals today is just to show you what self-acceptance and self-esteem is and what it isn't. I want to show you what that is, and maybe through our coaching calls we can adjust. If this is something that you want to work on, we can adjust some of that. Number one, self-esteem is not conceit or egotism. Conceit, C-O-N-C-I-E-T, or egotism. Number two, people with low self-esteem tend to be hostile or defensive. Hostile or defensive. So next time you question an employee because of a job they did or didn't do, and they get defensive, just know, because you were in this class, the reason they're getting defensive is that they're actually pretty hard on themselves. It's like the rough guy who's really a teddy bear once you get to know him, right? Got to break through that a little bit. Number three, they engage in attacks on the subconscious level, like name calling, and then you can write in sarcasm and withholding. Withholding, like, I won't talk to you. Withholding, yeah, withholding love, withholding connection, withholding friendship. I'm going to make you pay a price. That's hostile, right? Sarcasm, be careful with sarcasm. Just as a reminder, you think it might be funny. Is it possible that sometimes you've tried to be funny where it actually hurts someone's feelings? So you could say something funny that may not come across as funny to someone, and sarcasm can kill emotionally. Let me ask you this. Can a snicker, can that kill? Just a simple little thing.
It would make me think about that for the rest of the day.
Totally. Listen, human beings are sensitive. So if you're one that likes to throw around sarcasm and gotchas and stuff like that, just be mindful of who you're doing that with. And if you ever slip and do it, just verify that maybe you didn't rub that person wrong. Because sarcasm can sometimes be hard to tell whether you're being serious or not. Number four, They do things they know will bug you. Bug you. So certain ways to get under the skin a little bit. They take defeats and failures personal. Number 6, they perceive the world from a scarcity mindset. Scarcity mindset. What does that look like? A scarcity mindset says if everybody has a pie, a scarcity mindset says I need the whole pie, and if someone takes one away from me, then there's not enough for me. Someone with an abundance mindset says, hey, there's a pie and there's enough pieces for everybody. Okay, you got to do your part, but there's enough, right? So there's a difference. Number 7, people with low self-esteem may have difficulty accepting compliments or praise. Compliments or praise. And notice I said may. Because I have seen in the Harrison assessment where someone scores low on wanting recognition, but they have a high self-esteem. So there's balance in all of this. Okay. What's that?
Compliments and what?
Compliments and or praise. Or praise. Thank you. Yeah. 8, they may struggle with feelings of shame or guilt. I'll email this to you later for you that want it on our next coaching call. I'll email this text to you. In the book, The 4 Agreements, I printed this out. He says this, based on this last thought right here that I just gave you. Shame or guilt. True justice is paying only once for each mistake. True injustice is paying more than once for each mistake. How many times do we pay for one mistake? The author of the 4 Agreements says. The answer is thousands of times. The human being is the only animal on earth that pays 1,000 times for the same mistake. The rest of the animals pay only once for every mistake they make, but not us. We have a powerful memory. We make a mistake, we judge ourselves, we find ourselves guilty, we punish ourselves. If justice exists, then that was enough. We don't need to do it again. But every time we remember, we judge ourselves again, we are guilty again, and we punish ourselves again and again and again. If we have a wife or a husband, he or she reminds us of the mistake, so we can judge ourselves again, punish ourselves again, and find ourselves guilty again. And then he asks the question, is that fair? I say to you, it's not fair. Some of us are too hard on ourselves and we need to just let go. We just need to let go and understand life's not perfect and assume that others did their best and not take things so personally. I did work for a waste management company up in Seattle, and the owner, the family, one of the owners was in the room, and he told me after one of the trainings, he says, you know, one of our major expenses at a junkyard, or not a junkyard, a waste management yard where all your garbage goes, one of the big expenses are repairing the fences. I said, why would that be one of your big expenses? He says, because the wind comes in and blows the paper and everything against the fences, and the fences can't breathe, and it blows the fences down. How much clutter, how much paper, how much junk are we storing in ourselves that we just need to let go and move on?
podcast listeners, thanks for listening. You've taken time out of your schedule, and I really appreciate it. Now, do me a favor. If you like what you heard, star it. Thanks. Now go unleash your greatness within.